I Ching is, again, providing an alternative view than that of the Dark Age, in which the pursuit of happiness, as we know, as most of us are Shambhala Buddhists or in that neighborhood, has not worked out as advertised. That you can have tremendous success in relative ways, but the basic anxiety of being a person sometimes gets exaggerated by that success rather than otherwise. And that the survival of the fittest and the ethos of, has led to a lot of suffering, not just among those people who work in Nike factories in China to support our passions, but among ourselves as well. And the other problem that's become really clear is that the granular motivation and behaviors of us wanting things just as individuals has aggregated into these system-wide discontinuities and uncouplings between heaven and earth that are obviously leading to forest fires, plague, famine, war. This stuff is now commonplace. We all understand it's all over the place, and we don't know what to do about it. So, again, this hopefully provides a model that provides so what is the political model that the I Ching presents, right? What is it that's unique about this model, or how does it look? First of all, it presents a political model based on natural hierarchy. So natural hierarchy is coming back to this idea of power and virtue. That the idea is that people are able to rule their world, to borrow a phrase from Sakya Nihon Rinpoche, appropriately and genuinely within the sphere of their own personal development, which is their ability to be without bias, to see clearly how the world works, and their loyalty to what is as opposed to what they want it to be. So the idea is that if a person has loyalty to heaven and a sense of virtue in terms of how they relate to the practicalities of their life, they're sort of, that's their imprimatur, that's their actually empowerment to hold a seat. And again, you'll see as we look a little further into the structure of the I Ching, that so much of it is about how to bring that view into society and how to mature people into accepting that view of how they can lead their lives, so that we have nested hierarchies of people who are genuinely empowered within their own sphere of influence, and at the same time able to respect and be resonant with these larger hierarchies above them based on this virtuous situation. So in distributed empowerment, all members of society are empowered to fulfill their livelihoods and engage their social worlds in ways that are locally directed. In other words, they're not following instructions from someone else about how to organize their sphere of influence. It's their own creative process. But at the same time, they're in harmony with society and natural systems as a whole. So that's the big bottom line we're looking for, isn't it? It's not that we're all sort of saluting someone who knows better than we do and doing what they say because we're turkeys and they know, but we're looking to have this high degree of local empowerment and semi-local empowerment and overall empowerment. So the whole of society is acting in an intelligent, self-directed way that doesn't decouple from the natural environment and doesn't decouple from itself in exploitive ways. So that's the challenge, obviously. That was the idea of democracy, right? That we're going to actually, on the granular level, that granular intelligence is going to inform how we rule ourselves overall, and therefore we won't decouple. Well, that hasn't quite worked. So we can look further about why that didn't quite work. But the impetus, the idea of that's quite brilliant, right? People have basic goodness, they have local intelligence, and we can aggregate that local intelligence to handle the overall rulership situation. So we'll look further at that. So integrating heaven and earth in society such that all beings can express their inherent potential in the native context of their lives. Now that's very important. We're not talking about going to a monastery to understand our potential. We're saying, how can we create a society where people discover their basic goodness, their own qualities and qualifications and abilities and creativity within the native context, within their own lives, rather than having to change channels completely and then come back and get a job to make money so they can go off to the monastery, that their situation actually is creative in and of itself. And that's the project of Enlightened Society as described in I Ching. All right, let's have a couple of questions here before we launch. We're about to launch into some actual I Chingosity, but let's have a couple of questions here. Yes?
I think it's interesting that humility is emphasized regardless of one's position within the hierarchy.
In case people couldn't hear, you said, I think it's interesting that humility is emphasized no matter what position. And one of the hexagrams we will look at tonight is humbleness. And it's referred to as the final achievement, the ultimate, the epitome of leadership is humility. And there's a lot of warnings that go along with the alternative. So, yes.
Dan, can you say more about how you were called to the work of translation?
Yes.
How it is that you've been tapped?
Actually, there's tapped is the word. I was innocently minding my own business, right? Laying around with the I Ching, all of a sudden a big hand on the neck. So actually, there's a place, it's a joke, but it's not really a joke. So there's a place in the presentation where actually I will get into that.
Great.
Absolutely.
Great.
Yes.
The distributed empowerment, and I want to be really clear that I have it in my mind exactly how you are presenting it, or how it is, not presenting it as it's a truth. So if, our relationship to heaven and our balance, heaven and earth, within that and in the whole taking of our seat as a leader, as a warrior, unfolds then as more and more empowerment.
Yes. Well, it's interesting. We have this, there's sort of the Peter principle problem, that we sort of assume that we want to sort of rise to the top.
I was just going to qualify what I said.
Oh, go ahead then. I'm sorry.
Which doesn't mean that that's the objective. But that harmony, the sense of harmony and living within society, that the empowerment aspect is that journey, that path.
Yes, yes.
And not from the ego standpoint or from the power standpoint, but from the actually functioning in harmony within society.
No, that's exactly right. That rather than the idea of getting ahead or getting to the top, the idea is that your highest, and this will be discussed in some of what we'll get into, your highest and best use is being who you are. And that even in a humble position in society, you can be a nexus of wisdom of extraordinary profundity. Or who you are might have tremendous breadth, and you're not very good at it. But people are different. And this is an acknowledgement that the sense of wisdom and depth and benefit is not defined by where you are in the hierarchy. It's a sort of like a specific gravity, right? You find where is real for you, and then you can become as awake as anybody there. But our karma is not the same. In other words, if I wanted to go into long distance running, right? I'm not put together that way. But if I were, that would be really important for me to express who I am in that way. So this kind of understanding allows for genuine diversity and dignity to penetrate all the strata of society and the sort of variegated makeup of beings, and not just humans.